fast approaching midterm elections and a key issue facing Georgia's Republican nominee for Senate, Herschel Walker. The mother of one of his children tells the Washington Post she had to push Walker to pay for an abortion he asked her to have in 2009. The Republican candidate, who says he is anti-abortion, campaigned yesterday with two top Senate Republicans. Nikole Killion is closely following the story for us from Atlanta. Good morning, Nikole.
Hey, good morning to you. Herschel Walker continues to double down on his denials that he paid for a woman's abortion, although he now says he knows who the woman is.
I know nothing about an abortion.
Republican Senate nominee Herschel Walker continues to insist reports he paid for a woman's abortion in 2009 are untrue.
Did you ever, to your knowledge, give money to pay for the cost of an abortion?
No.
Is she lying?
Yes, she's lying.
Walker has expressed support for a total abortion ban and was asked to clarify his position.
I believe in life.
No exception.
Well, I believe in the Georgia heartbeat bill. You know, that has exceptions in it.
But in a new report from the Washington Post, a woman claiming to be the mother of his child says she had to press Walker to pay for the abortion he wanted. She claims she told him, "I can't afford to pay for this," and said Walker sent her a $700 check by FedEx after the procedure.
You can see what they're doing.
The former football star tried to move on from the controversy as he teamed up with Republican Senators Rick Scott and Tom Cotton Tuesday.
Let's go elect Herschel Walker to the United States Senate.
While they're embracing Walker, GOP leaders and strategists are increasingly concerned his troubles could cost him in the pivotal Senate race, CBS News has learned.
What do you say to those in your party who have concerns?
Herschel Walker's led the dream of this country. He believes in this country, and that's why people are going to vote for him.
But some voters aren't so sure.
There's way too much baggage.
I think he could do amazing things for our Senate.
Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, who wants to express concerns about candidate quality, says he plans to stick with Walker and speaks with him often. At least one new poll taken after the scandal broke shows Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock with a slight lead over Walker. Tanya, Anne Marie?
No, Nikole, when you said slight lead, it really is a slight lead. But, you know, this is a guy that probably should be way ahead in the polls, and he's not. I'm wondering if what we're seeing with this ever so slight lead is the impact of these many, many controversies.
Well, I think it remains to be seen. I mean, keep in mind, we continue to get new developments and details that come out in this story, most recently with Herschel Walker sitting down for an interview. And then, of course, some new reporting, too, from the Washington Post. So that being said, I think it'll be a while before we kind of see the real impact here. You know, in terms of the poll I referenced, that was an Emerson poll that shows about a 2-point spread between Warnock and Walker. There's a new poll out this morning from the University of Georgia that shows a 3-point spread with Senator Warnock ahead of Walker. But that kind of has been trending with what we saw even before all of this news broke. I mean, you can even go back to our battleground tracker where we also had a 2-point spread between Warnock and Walker, 51% to 49%. So, you know, again, this is a very narrow and tight contest. And there is a debate coming up later this week. Perhaps could be their one and only debate between Senator Warnock and Herschel Walker. So that will also potentially be an indicator of where voters come down. Either way, they have to start making up their minds because early voting here starts next week.
That's really interesting, Nikole, those polls suggesting that all of this is really not swaying voters that much. But you have spoken to some Georgia voters. Where do they stand? Do they tell you that these revelations about Walker are making a difference?
Well, and, you know, again, as you mentioned, you know, in terms of the polling, it does kind of speak or track with what we're hearing from voters. Quite frankly, a lot of the voters we talk to, and while certainly they're not a representative sample of everyone here in the state, but, you know, the genuine sense from most voters I've spoken to is that they've pretty much already made their mind. If they're going to vote for Walker, they're going to vote for Walker. If they're going to vote for Warnock, they're going to vote for Warnock. And so there's really, maybe with the exception of one or two voters I've spoken with, not too many people who are still on the fence or kind of waiting to see more of what comes out.
So there's another big story coming out of Georgia. What can you tell us about the Fulton County grand jury probe into former President Trump's alleged interference in the 2020 election?
Yeah, well, this Fulton County grand jury investigation continues. It's obviously been going on for a number of months now because of the upcoming election, though it has taken a pause because the DA doesn't want the appearance of interfering or trying to influence the election. So right now, that probe has stayed pretty quiet, but we do know kind of in the run-up to this period that they were seeking additional witness testimony and subpoenas from a number of individuals. We know several people have since testified before this grand jury, including most notably Rudy Giuliani. There was the hope that Mark Meadows would appear before the panel. So far, he has not done so. There have been some reports that one of his former aides, Cassidy Hutchinson, who was a big witness in the January 6th hearings, that she is now cooperating with this probe, but we have not been able to independently confirm that. And of course, Senator Lindsey Graham, another prominent individual and lawmaker, continues to try to fight his subpoena to appear before this panel. Of course, this all started and was generated by that one phone call that the former president made to the Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, asking him to find the votes. So that is kind of how this whole investigation got started, and certainly will pick up in earnest after the midterm elections.
All right, Nikole, thank you very much.
You bet.